I have a lot of good memories of camping, staying in a tent for short periods of time. Camping is fun, especially for kids. There's something about the adventure of setting up a tent and living in it for a little while. Oftentimes, that's just trying to get your mom and dad to let you set up a tent in the backyard so you can camp overnight. For me, we had great camping adventures on the Serengeti Plains of East Africa. My son, when he was little, also liked tents, and for a while he wanted to set up his little pup tent on his bed. And so he lived in that tent for a while. I'm not going to tell you how long, but he enjoyed it. The safety of living in a tent, mom and dad were fine with it because it was inside. It was safe. He had all the air conditioning or heat, whatever he needed. And each night he could crawl in, zip up his tent, and go to sleep. But as we look around the world today, we see there's a lot of people living in tents that are suffering. With the wars, whether it's in Syria or Ukraine or other parts of the world, there are vast numbers of refugees with nowhere to live. They're forced to live in these tents in very difficult circumstances. They've left everything they own, the values in life, the comforts in life, and they are living as aliens and strangers in a foreign land in a tent. That's not easy. When we look around our own cities, there's no shortage of homeless people, for whatever reason, cannot find a place to live. It can be because they can't afford it or simply because there is no place to live, and they're forced to live in a tent. Paul reminds us that every believer in Jesus Christ, these bodies that we live in are tents. They're temporary. And as we live in these tents, we struggle. Paul uses the words like moan and groan. We know that the sin of the world, the sin we struggled with, illnesses, just the pressures and challenges of life and even death itself reminds us that we are not home yet. We're still struggling. This is the temporary place. But there is also the comfort that Paul says is because though we live in a tent now, groaning, we look forward to the permanent building that we'll once have. That permanent building that Paul is talking about is our resurrected bodies, the new bodies that we will get when Jesus returns. And that is really good news. You see, these bodies are going to be improved as Jesus did go before us. And his body, not only did he die, but he was resurrected. And his resurrection body is the one that is a likeness to what we will have one day. So are you going through a rough week? Is this a challenging time? Has the sting of death impacted you? Or are you just feeling the aches and pains of living in this physical body? Is life discouraged? Are you just overwhelmed with the worries and the concerns of life? Are you feeling the groans that Paul is talking about? Well, as believers in Jesus Christ, we can have great hope because we are not home yet. And that's really good news. I'm Bob Orner, and I'd like you to think about that.